Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a company called AirJoule Technologies, and they are tackling one of the biggest, most fundamental challenges we face on this planet, the growing scarcity of fresh water. So let's just start with the big picture, right? Our world is thirsty. I mean, really thirsty. From huge industrial countries to developing nations. The way we've always gotten our water, well, it's starting to break down. This isn't some problem for the future. It is happening right now. And this map, it just shows you how incredibly widespread this vulnerability really is.
This one sentence, which AirJoule's CEO loves to highlight, just perfectly captures the moment we're in. It completely reframes how we should think about water. It's not just a resource anymore. It's a critical strategic asset. It dictates everything from the economy to national security and even just plain survival.
And you can see the proof everywhere. I mean, look at Corpus Christi, Texas, a major U.S. port. Their main reservoir is practically empty, threatening all sorts of industrial work. Or think about the Middle East, where these massive desalination plants, which are a lifeline for over 100 million people, have become targets in conflicts. The big takeaway here is that our water system, the way it's built, is centralized, it's brittle, and it is so easy to disrupt.
Okay, so what if the solution wasn't in our rapidly shrinking reservoirs or even in the oceans? What if it was literally in the air all around us? Now, this is the really radical idea that AirJoule is chasing.
So, instead of relying on these giant centralized plants and thousands of miles of pipelines, AirJoule is building tech that works completely on its own. It can make pure water right where you need it, on-site, totally independent of the public grid. It's a way to completely sidestep our fragile, old-school infrastructure.
All right, let's get into the weeds a little bit, because this is the core of their technology. It is literally a system designed to pull water out of thin air. You can see it right here. Normal, everyday air goes in one side, and two things come out the other: pure water and dry air.
And the process itself sounds almost deceptively simple. It's just a three-step cycle. First, air gets passed over this special material that just grabs onto water molecules. Then they apply a vacuum and a little heat, which releases that trapped water as vapor. Basically, they're distilling it. And finally, that clean vapor is condensed back into pure liquid water. That's it. So what's the secret sauce? What makes this whole thing work? It's a material called a metal organic framework, or a MOF. The best way to think about it is like a high-tech super sponge that's been engineered at a molecular level to only grab water out of the air. And this isn't science fiction, folks. The science behind these materials was so groundbreaking, it actually won a Nobel Prize.
Okay, so having a Nobel Prize-winning idea is one thing. But the real question is, does this thing actually work outside of a pristine lab? Well, 2025 was the year AirJoule decided to find out by putting their tech to the test in the real world.
And they really put it through a gauntlet. I mean, they sent these systems all over the globe into completely different environments, from the dry heat of Dubai to the unpredictable weather of Hubbard, Texas. They even sent units to Arizona State University for an independent checkup and to a community in California to see how it worked for off-grid living.
And the results of all that testing were pretty spectacular. They proved that the system doesn't just make water, it makes exceptionally pure distilled water. We're talking free of nasty contaminants like PFAS, and it meets FDA standards for bottled water, straight out of the machine. That's a huge deal.
So, with the technology totally validated out in the field, the focus had to shift, right? It moved from, can we prove the science, to how do we build a real business around this thing?
So they're planning to roll out two main products. First, you've got the AirJoule Core. It's a smaller system, good for things like industrial dehumidification, and it's set to launch in late 2026. And then there's the big one, the AirJoule Prime. This is a much larger industrial-scale beast designed to generate a ton of water, especially if it can use waste heat from places like factories or data centers.
Now this brings up a really important question about their business model. You have this revolutionary and probably pretty expensive piece of tech. How on earth do you get it into customers' hands quickly? Their answer is pretty clever. It's a model called a Water Purchase Agreement, or WPA. So instead of a customer having to fork over a huge amount of cash up front, a lot of them will just pay for the water they use, kind of like a utility bill. AirJoule owns and operates the machine, which makes it way easier for customers to say yes, and at the same time, it creates this nice, steady revenue stream for the company. And if you're wondering if this is all for real, just look at the company they're keeping. They've managed to build some serious credibility by partnering with absolutely huge names. We're talking industrial giants like GE and Carrier, tech heavyweights like Google and Microsoft, and even the US Army.
These are not just logos on a slide. This is a massive vote of confidence from a lot of different important sectors.
All right, next up, let's talk about the money. Because you can have the greatest idea in the world, but you absolutely need fuel in the tank to make it all happen. So how are they funding this whole ambitious plan?
Now, after a recent equity offering, the company is sitting on a pro forma cash position of about $44 million. And this is the capital that's going to let them actually execute on this whole commercialization plan.
And here is a really key detail. This cash cushion they have, it comes with zero debt on the books. And in the world of tech startups, that is huge. It gives them an incredible amount of financial flexibility as they start to scale up.
And that flexibility, it really translates into time. Management has said that this gives them a clear financial runway to fund everything they need to do, all their operations and their commercial deployments, all the way through the year 2027.
So, when you put it all together, what does it add up to? Let's zoom back out to the big picture and think about what a technology like this could actually mean for the future of water.
See, AirJoule isn't just selling a new machine. What they're really proposing is a fundamental shift in how we think. A move away from our current systems that are centralized, brittle, and totally dependent on geography, to a new model that is distributed, resilient, and completely independent of pipelines. You know, it's really a shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance.
And it kind of leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. What becomes possible for our communities, for our industries, for entire nations? What changes when we can reliably tap into the single largest, most accessible source of fresh water on the entire planet, the atmosphere itself?